Have you ever felt trapped by regret, haunted by mistakes you can't undo? What if I told you that regret isn't your enemy, but your greatest teacher? In today's story, a troubled young man seeks wisdom from a Zen master who shares a powerful tale about a mysterious cave, a haunted mirror, and a journey that transforms a man's life forever. Stay tuned to discover how facing your fears can uncover the strength you never knew you had. This isn't just a story, it's a guide to turning regret into hope.
A serene mountain monastery, where a young man sits before an old Zen master. The young man's face is heavy with regret, his eyes clouded with sadness. Young man, master, I've ruined my life. Every decision I made was a mistake, and now I feel trapped in a prison of regret. Zen master, regret is a heavy stone, my son. Would you like to hear a story of a man who also felt lost and burdened? Young man, yes, master. The Zen master began his tale. Long ago, in a small village near the mountains, there lived a man named Haru. Haru was not unlike you, burdened by his failures and haunted by his past. One evening, as he sat by the river wallowing in his misery, he saw a mysterious old woman dressed in tattered robes. She carried a sack filled with strange trinkets. The woman approached Haru and said, "Why do you weep?" Haru told her of his regrets, the opportunities he had wasted, the relationships he had ruined, and the dreams he had abandoned. The woman listened quietly and then said, "If you truly wish to free yourself from this pain, climb the mountain and enter the cave of shadows. Inside, you will find a mirror. Look into it, and you will see the truth that can set you free." Haru hesitated. The mountain was treacherous, and the cave of shadows was a place whispered about in fear, a place where few who entered ever returned. But desperation drove him forward. The climb was brutal. The mountain was cloaked in dense fog, and the path was littered with jagged rocks. Haru encountered strange symbols etched into the stones. Warnings, perhaps, or riddles he couldn't understand. He pressed on, driven by the hope of release from his torment. Finally, Haru reached the cave of shadows. The entrance was dark, and a chilling wind seemed to emanate from within. Steeling himself, he stepped inside. The air grew colder with every step, and the shadows on the walls seemed to twist and writhe like living things. At last, he reached the heart of the cave, where a massive mirror stood. Its surface was black, reflecting nothing. As Haru approached, the mirror began to shimmer, and an image appeared. To his horror, the reflection showed him not as he was, but as a twisted, monstrous version of himself, a creature born from his regrets and failures. The image mocked him, replaying every mistake he had ever made. Haru fell to his knees, overwhelmed. As he knelt there, a voice echoed through the cave. "Do you see now? The monster you fear is not the world. It is within you." Haru screamed, "How can I defeat it?" The voice replied, "You cannot defeat it by fighting. You must embrace it." Confused but desperate, Haru rose to his feet. Trembling, he reached out and touched the mirror. The surface rippled like water, and he felt a searing pain in his chest. The monstrous reflection dissolved, replaced by a vision of his younger self, a boy full of hope and dreams. The voice spoke again. "Your regrets are your teachers, not your chains. Accept them, learn from them, and they will no longer control you." When Haru stepped out of the cave, the world seemed brighter, lighter. The burdens he had carried for years were gone, replaced by a quiet strength. The Zen master paused, his eyes fixed on the young man. "Zen master, regret is like the cave of shadows. It will haunt you until you face it. But remember, the monster you fear is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your transformation. The young man leaned forward, intrigued, but still hesitant. Young man, but master, what if I go into the cave and never come out? What if my regrets are too great to overcome? Zen master, smiling. But what if, like Haru, you find a version of yourself you never knew existed? The only way to know is to take the journey. The Zen master handed the young man a small stone with an engraving of a mirror. Zen master, carry this as a reminder. Your regrets do not define you unless you let them. The journey may be hard, but the treasure lies in the courage to face yourself. The young man nodded, a flicker of hope lighting his eyes. He rose, ready to face the mountains of his life. In life, we all carry regrets, some small, some heavy. But like Haru, we must step into the cave of shadows and confront the monster within. It is through that confrontation, that courage, that we discover the truth. Regret is not our prison. It is our teacher. Face it, embrace it, and walk forward into the light.
Before we wrap up, if you found value in this message, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Share it with someone who might need a little motivation. And of course, hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on more uplifting content.